What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel. If you guys are new, welcome. Let me start out by saying thank you guys so much for the crazy support lately. It's been going off on YouTube. I really do appreciate it, like, so much. You don't understand. It's mind-blowing to me. So thank you guys so much for liking, subscribing, everything like that. It means the world. So, today, we are going over what I think you guys should grab right now, the 4 best power weapon linear fusion rifles out there, just for a few different reasons. Now, there's a couple that are going to be better for DPS, and a couple that are just out there for their damage archetype and their elemental burn. So, let's get right into them. So, as you can see, these are the 4 in my inventory that I think you should grab right now. The Tarantula, Corsairs Wrath, Threaded Needle, and Reed's Regret. Now, to start off, I think that these 4 are super important. One, because they all have a different elemental burn. We have Stasis here on Reed's Regret, Void on the Threaded Needle, Solar on Corsairs Wrath, and then Arc on Tarantula. Now, with our mod this season, Particle Deconstruction, all of these weapons are doing crazy damage no matter what, but some of them will be better for DPS. I just think having all 4 of these able to clear shields with match game, so you don't have to worry about throwing on something random. You will have an Arc, Solar, Void, Stasis, whatever shield you are going up against, you have a viable option for a linear fusion rifle in your power weapon slot that is not exotic. So definitely the first main point about these, they're all different elemental burns, so it is perfect for those match game activities, depending on what else you are running. Now let's get into the individual weapons themselves. First off, we're going to go over the Tarantula right here. Now, this gun right here is not the best for DPS, I will say that, for a few different reasons. This last perk right here, this is about the best one you can get for DPS. There is a Rampage roll, but there is no Vorpal weapon or high impact reserves on this, so it's not getting that extra little oomph in the damage against bosses and towards the end of the clip. So Killclip, if you can snag one enemy right before you start doing DPS and then throw that entire next clip into an enemy, or a boss I should say, then its DPS does increase pretty well, but once again, it's only for one clip and you can't keep going. So this gun is really just for its arc burn, so you can clear those arc shields, and then also this thing does get that particle deconstruction, so alone it does do enough damage, but nothing like the other 3, that's for sure. There's a couple other rolls in here that you can throw in for this last. There's a Rampage and a Dragonfly perk, which are also pretty fun, but Killclip seemed to be the best in my opinion, just for getting that little extra damage boost on your enemies. This weapon is also just super easy to obtain. It's a world drop, so it comes from a lot of different places, just random drops from completing activities, turning in your gunsmith materials, turning in legendary engrams, anything like that. This has a chance to drop. So pretty easy to obtain this weapon overall, and like I said, having that arc burn, perfect for match game and those arc shields. Next, we are going over Corsairs Wrath. Now, this weapon right here, for its solar burn, perfect for those solar shields, like I said again, for match game. Now, this is going to be a little bit better with its DPS, because this perk right here can roll with high impact reserves, so the rounds at the end of the magazine deal more damage. When we pair that with particle deconstruction, it just does more damage overall than a Killclip Tarantula. So this is next on the list for our DPS, and it has a really good perk right here with high impact reserves, being able to do more damage at the end of the magazine against all of your enemies. So I definitely suggest trying to get this roll. This one is decently hard to farm, actually, because it comes from using those lure charges and the crow on the Tangled Shore. You have to go on those Wrathborn hunts around the Dreaming City or the Tangled Shore, and it's not always an option to have this drop from one of those different 4 activities, so it is decently hard to farm. Took me about 35 different Wrathborn hunts for a Corsairs Wrath to get this specific one with high impact reserves. Kept dropping with the other plethora of perks that it can have, but definitely be looking for high impact reserves and using those lure charges to find this linear fusion rifle right here. Super great in my opinion. I do love it, and it is a perfect way to take out those solar shields against like Hive Knights, stuff like that when you need it for match game. Next, we move on to the Threaded Needle, which in my opinion I think is the best one to obtain. Super easy to farm, probably the easiest to farm and get the god roll, which right here in my opinion you want rapid hit with Vorpal, because this thing puts out crazy damage against bosses. Just alone for this perk right here. Once again, we have Void, so we can clear out those Void shields on match game. Perfect for it, but like I said, this Vorpal right here, by far the best perk in this last slot for doing that extra DPS, wiping out champions, bosses. This thing has everything. And like I said, probably the easiest to farm out of all 4 of these weapons, because it comes from our battleground activities. You can get it there, and you can also focus your umbral engrams for finding this weapon right here. So when you are at the Prismatic Recaster, come down to the Season of the Chosen right here, and you will see you are able to obtain it a few different ways. Spending your hammer charges right here has a chance of giving you the linear fusion rifle, which is our Threaded Needle. And then also down here, if you spend 5 hammer charges, it has a chance of dropping the linear fusion rifle with a perk choice in that final column. So you could get Vorpal and something else, but just gives you a better chance of farming this weapon for that god roll. And then also, if you don't want to spend a bunch of hammer charges, you have this option right here, Chosen Arms, which just gives you the option of about 5 different weapons to obtain from Season of the Chosen. So just a little bit harder to get that exact weapon, so that's why tier 3 and tier 2 are the way to go, just so you can really get that Vorpal perk. But like I said, umbral engrams, super easy to farm, and those hammer charges you get from completing your battleground activities, stuff like that. So still very viable in this Season of the Lost to use your umbral engrams right here just to get your weapons that you need. Like I said, this one right here, probably my favorite, just because you see way more void shields than you do stasis shields right now. But Reed's Regret is pretty close in the damage category. Moving on to Reed's Regret right here, it is a stasis weapon, perfect for those stasis shields. Not that we see many of them, but once again, it can roll with Vorpal and then triple tap right here. Definitely the 2 that you want on this weapon. This one rolls with triple tap, so it is perfect because it returns 1 round to your magazine when you rapidly hit those precision shots. So if you're hitting those precision shots with Vorpal, this thing is absolutely nutty for damage. I think it's better than the Threaded Needle for damage, but overall usability, Threaded Needle is better due to its fact of Void capabilities and taking down those shields, just because we really do not see that many stasis shields at this point in time. But later on in the Destiny world, once we start getting a lot more stasis enemies, this thing will become more viable for clearing those shields. But either way, this thing is amazing for damage. Definitely, like I said, Threaded Needle and this Reed's Regret, by far the best 2 for damage in your linear fusion rifle heavy slot. Easy, you don't gotta waste an exotic on these 2, and they both put out some crazy damage. Now, this one is a little bit harder to farm just because it is a Trials exclusive weapon, so you will have to get into Trials and slap around to get those engrams from Shaint 14, and then hopefully he gives you Reed's Regret out of one of those. Then after you do unlock it, you can farm it pretty easily on the weekend if you have those Trials engrams, because you can unlock it and then spend them on specifically Reed's Regret. With the changes to Trials, being able to go in solo queue and not really worrying about winning actual games, you can just win rounds. The loot system is way better for obtaining this weapon. You don't have to have a cracked out team. You can go in alone and still get those engrams to farm this weapon right here. Just definitely not as easy as Threaded Needle, which in my opinion, you should be going for all 4, but Reed's Regret and Threaded Needle are definitely your 2 bangers for DPS. So that is it in my opinion. These are the 4 right here that you should be going for with these rolls: triple tap Vorpal, rapid hit Vorpal, you want high impact reserves on this bad boy right here. And then on this, there's a couple different fun ones, like I said. Killclip, Rampage, Dragonfly. Not the best for DPS, this one, but a super fun linear fusion rifle to have, and especially for those arc shields, like I said, when we have match game going on. But hopefully that helped you guys out farming these crazy linear fusion rifles. And with the meta being so fusion rifle based this season due to particle deconstruction, definitely suggest going for these as soon as you can. Like I said, some are harder to farm. This is the hardest to farm, Corsairs Wrath. Then probably this, just because it is a random world drop. Then your Reed's Regret, just because it's trials based. And finally, this one right here, Threaded Needle, is the easiest, and I think is the best one in my personal opinion. People will argue and say Reed's Regret is, but this one right here is absolutely nutty and more versatile in my opinion, because we see way more Void Shields than we do Stasis. So thank you guys again so much for watching. Hopefully this helped you guys out. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.